Good morning. My name is Steve Dickman. I'm president for the Outpost Centers International Organization based in Appleton, Tennessee. We have ministries scattered across the world, 220 ministries in almost 70 countries of the world. The recent crisis in Ukraine has become an opportunity for us to respond as a group and to look for ways to help in this crisis. The focus at this point is on helping refugees and helping the ministries that exist in these countries to maintain and be successful and as they help the refugees. We have 4 ministries in the Ukraine. We have ministries in Romania, Poland, and Moldova as well, bordering countries where many of thousands of refugees are streaming from Ukraine and trying to find a place for safety for their families. This morning, we're going to give you a brief report about what's happening there on the front lines. We have several individuals here with us on Zoom today. And so we're going to just ask a few questions of them and have them respond as we look towards how the Lord would lead us to work together to bring awareness of the need and to give you an opportunity to get involved. I have with us today Alexei. Alexei is from Our Home Ministry in the country of Ukraine. Alexei, tell us, how is Our Home responding and what's happening there?
A week ago, we ended our last session, and we still had some patients on the morning of February the 24th when the war started, and we never expected, what we would be doing in times of war. But all of a sudden, people started calling us. First, our former patients, and then other people whom we don't even know, and they asked to come and to stay with us or to spend the night as they travel from east to west. And so far, during this week, we've taken 400 people. Some of them are staying with us, and some of them just had a overnight stay with us. And so we're continuing serving them. And as the food shortage is growing, there is a need of food, there is need of literature, spiritual literature to give to each person who arrives at our home. There is a need in medications to be able to help people.
Thank you, Alexei. I appreciate that. We also have on the line with us this morning, Dr. Nick Dan, who is at Hergalia, one of our other lifestyle centers there. Nick, can you talk to us just a little bit? Now, you're not in the country of Ukraine. You're adjacent. You're in the country of Romania. How are things developing there, and how is Romania being impacted by what's happening in Ukraine?
Here at Hergalia in Romania, as well as in Speranța in Moldova Republic, we have full session, 48 patients, 45 patients, but we started to open for receiving refugees, and more refugees will come as, tens of thousands of them are coming in the country every day. That means that besides the almost 50 patients we have, there will be another 50 refugees, and that means that we will need support to be able to feed those people, to keep the rooms heat, and so on. We are keeping also in touch with the church and with ADRA. They've been there from the first day of the war and working with the government, both in Romania and Moldova, and they are there. And so we are offering every help we can, and we try to coordinate their needs with our resources and our medical help. The magnitude of this humanitarian crisis is unbelievable. Out of about 150,000 people who came in Romania, and the same number in Moldova, about 50,000 of people, they are staying in these countries, and about 20,000 of them are under the age of 18. So many women with their children, and they need help, especially in Moldova Republic, where the level of poverty is much higher. People don't have resources to heat their houses, and after they put them in their houses, they begin to fill their churches, and it's cold, and they just don't have those resources. So they will need help to sustain this effort for the refugees. And we will need, all of us will need to work on that.
Thank you, Dr. Dan. I appreciate that. What an opportunity to serve there. Moldova and Romania both being impacted, huge needs there. Thank you for sharing. We have Dr. Yuri on the phone with us. Dr. Yuri operates a clinic actually inside the country of Ukraine and has recently had to even move his clinic to maintain some sense of things there. Dr. Yuri, talk to us just a little bit about what's happening there in Ukraine on the front lines with serving the medical needs of the people there.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, it's a hard week. Week ago, we started wake up in Kiev from the sounds of explosions. And we understood that war has started. Actually, we were prepared for that. We didn't expect it, that it will be in reality, because it's reality. The brain is not ready to accept this kind of reality. But when the U.S. government told us months ago that it will be a high possibility of, we developed a plan A, B, C, D, how to act in case of risk of invasion, if invasion will be, and if it will be artillery or bombing. Or so we moved from plan B to plan C, and during the first day of war, because of active bombing of Kiev, because our clinic is situated in Kiev. So we split the team. Most of the team moved to Western Ukraine to work with refugees. And now, after 5 days, we have started this work. We are also transferring refugees using our transportation, sending bread and fuel to Kiev, supporting with medications and small resources which we have. Our small team of doctors and nurses in Kiev. And Lord is good. We are blessed with His blessing. We see it's on every step, even through crossing checkpoints, in the calls of the people. For example, this morning, a lady called to me. I don't know where she find my cell phone number. She just asked, Yuri, somebody have give me your number, so I need to be evacuated from Kiev. How can you help me? So we started a conversation, and 5 minutes after, she understood that I'm Adventist person, and she started to cry because she's a former Adventist person. She visited church a long time ago, but she left. And when she understood that it's real possibility to be evacuated from the Kiev, she started to cry, and it was very good conversation with her, and a lot of small miracles we have during this with this very long but very fast week. So God is good. We are developing mental health support, combining with spiritual support, because modern world is trying to solve their spiritual problems with psychology and psychotherapy, but it's not effective without true Christian fundamental beliefs. And this culture of Christian approach to their real happiness and sense of life, and we're trying to last all this 6 years of existing of our clinic, we're trying to be His hands, Lord's eyes, and I believe that Lord will provide the next activities. Though we are refugees by our own selves, we moved from with our families from our homes, and it's very difficult experience, especially in our team. We have 55 members of our team. We have 6 members of our team. It's our accountant, 2 nurses, one of our manager. They moved previously 8 years ago from eastern Ukraine, where the rebels territory and the first revolution and military activity has started. So they now moving twice. Some of them refused to move. They still on our small team, and they're working very well. Even our dental doctor, she's doing her dental services there. And a lot of people, this morning, our manager, he's from Eastern Ukraine as well. He's distributing bread on the street outside of the clinic, and he's sent me a short video with a lady who came, and she's so happy that she opened the Bible. When she received the bread, she opened the Bible and started to read the Psalms, book of Psalms. And it's very their spiritual needs, so they're so hungry now. And it's maybe it's hard to say, but it's a blessing of war when we become very close to the Lord. So thank you for possibility to share, brothers and sisters. So we will be so thankful that you will continue to pray for us.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Yuri. What a blessing. I know you're working inside Ukraine there. A lot of things are happening. We're praying for you and the team there. May God just protect and sustain your team as they continue to minister through the medical needs, the spiritual needs, and food as well. And transportation, amazing stories of helping to evacuate people from Kiev there. Thank you for sharing with us. I'm going to go to Brock now. Brock is with Gideon's rescue team. And Brock, the Lord has called you to a special mission there. Talk to us a little bit about how that's developing there in the Ukraine.
Absolutely. God's really opened up some incredible doors, and we have a team of 5 that are on the ground, an ER doctor, a couple of flight paramedics, and some EMTs, and they're working with the Adventist headquarters in Lviv. And I would just dovetail on what Dr. Yuri said, that, there is an incredible opportunity here for the gospel like never before. You have an entire country that is open to the gospel in just incredible ways. And it's because of the crisis that they're facing. And so our team has been able to find some incredible resources with Adventist literature there in Lviv. And they're handing out glow tracts and steps to Christ and great controversy in the train stations as people are evacuating. And what we see is a whole field of harvest ripe for the reaping. And the challenge is we don't have laborers. And so we're praying, we're pleading for laborers, that God would send forth laborers. Right now, as we speak, we have an emergency printing of 1 million glow tracts in Ukrainian. We have an emergency printing of 50,000 steps to Christ, and also an emergency printing of great controversies. But again, I have to just reiterate that the challenge is we don't have the hands. We're a team of 5 on the ground right now in Lviv. And as you've heard from some of our other ministries and friends, they could use the hands and support, especially in the spiritual realm. And so we're just pleading that if you've been called as a Seventh-day Adventist for this time, and you can hand out a bottle of water and you can hand out a book, then your hands could be desperately needed in reaching people at a very critical time.
Thank you, Brock. Now, just let me review with you. You say you need some people, but what I'm hearing, you're actually in the country of Ukraine right now, working in Lviv and other areas there, maybe not as high risk as being on the other side with Kiev and the other places, but these people need to be prayed up when they come to serve with you and put their boots on. So I'll just say it that way. And we'll open a link, and there'll be an opportunity for people to respond. And so we're going to put communicating details in the chat as well for anyone who wants to respond and send that out. So thank you for joining us as we talk about what's happening in the Ukraine, the needs there, and the ministries that are already developing and taking place. I'm going to go to Ostap, who is a Ukrainian himself, and he runs a ministry called Build and Restore. And Ostap, talk to us about the involvement of Build and Restore there, in how you see what can be done there and the needs there on the side with all the refugees.
Yes, thank you, Steve. Our ministry, Build and Restore, is partnering with Gideon Rescue Company, with others on the ground in Lviv and across Ukraine. And we're supporting those that are on the ground with, supplies. We're making connections, helping them to travel from the border into the country, providing resources that they need at the time when they're there. And, finding lodging, finding the right people to connect with. And really what we're hoping to do is, like Steve said, to find people that are prayed up, that have their boots on, that have a spiritual mindset, that can go in. They can be on the Polish border, they can be on the Ukrainian side, or they can be in the neighboring countries of Romania and Moldova and Poland, and just support the effort of handing out literature, praying with people, supporting those that are coming across the border, and really being the hands and feet of Jesus.
Thank you, Ostap. What a blessing that you're out there on the front lines. So we're going to go take a little different shot at this now. We've got Charlene on the line with us, Charlene Sargent. She is the Community Service Director in the Pacific Union. And Charlene, I know that you've had a lot of experience in the work of what's happening and on the front lines in different places of the world. And you're bringing some opportunities, some resources potentially to the table, but there may be others who could partner with you. And just share with us how you see this developing crisis there in the Ukraine and what we can do to help.
Yes, it's interesting that even in the middle of tremendous crisis that we're seeing, we can see God's leading in our lives and opportunities, doors being opened. We've already had opportunities because of our disaster response work in the United States, seeing the availability of supplies that can support, especially with medications and medical supplies, not only being available here in the United States, but some supplies that are already in the Ukraine and other countries like Poland that we're able to use to get to our medical personnel to support people that are affected by this crisis. So here at Pacific Union, we are looking at other opportunities to coordinate. We're identifying needs from our folks over there and then trying to support with donated items, not even having to purchase, but using those donations that are coming to us through God's leading.
Thank you so much, Charlene, for sharing with us today. I know God is in this and he's going to provide a blessing for us as we move forward. I'm going to go to Kim Busel, who is actually joining us this morning from the country of Zambia, but has extensive work in this. And Kim, could you just talk to us a little bit about some of the opportunities that Adventist Help has discovered and some of the doors that God is opening? And maybe you could also bring Mark into the conversation and talk about the initiative that we're working on there on the border.
Yeah, hi, Steve. Glad to do that. It was last Sabbath afternoon, and we were in Iraq, where we had just reopened an emergency care unit for Iraqi refugees out of Mosul. And Dr. Michael John was there with us, and our phones started to vibrate and to ring, and appeals came in one after the other. Can you come help in Iraq? Cancel your flight back to Zambia. Come straight to Ukraine. And so, we thought about that. We said, we're just a small team. We're just a couple of people. But through the week, the Lord's work and more calls came in, more appeals came in. And by God's grace and networking and his goodness, we've been able to put together a team that is getting ready to provide a mobile emergency care unit along the Ukrainian border. And our need will be both personnel and financial resources. And I like to say this, that if the Lord has put disinterested benevolence in your heart, and you're a doctor, a nurse, a medical professional, and you're willing to go up to a place where the bed's not comfortable and the pillow may not be the right size, and to endure a little bit of discomfort, there'll be a place for you to be a blessing to people who are in great need. Marcus Alt is on the call. Marcus is from Switzerland. He's worked with us doing refugee work in Greece, in Iraq. He's got a lot of experience other places, and he has agreed to volunteer his time and to do an exploratory trip along the Ukrainian borders to find the best spot where we can serve most effectively. So Marcus?
Okay. Thank you, Kim, for your kind words. About 10 days ago, I lost my job. I wasn't needed anymore. I had worked at the laboratory, and seeing in Switzerland the COVID virus is subdued, they didn't need me anymore. So there I was. One evening, I was watching the reports of the war in Ukraine, and I had a heavy heart, and I prayed, Lord, how can I help? Can you do anything to me, with me? Can you use me in one way or another? And the next day, Adventist Help, Klaus Niebuhr from Sweden, phoned up and said, are you available? We need someone who goes scouting to the east of Romania and maybe Poland and along the Ukrainian border. And so I said, yes, sure. So here I am getting ready. On Tuesday, I will leave towards Odessa and then try to find suitable sites for our medical clinic. Want to set at the border of Ukraine, see what the needs are. So my recommendation to all of you is be careful what you pray for. God might answer it.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you sharing with us this morning. And I know that God has a plan, and that your services there on the border and your experience are going to be a huge blessing to helping to meet the needs of some of these families that are fleeing from the war there in Ukraine. So thank you. I'm going to try to see, is Michael John still on the call with us?
No, I was going to put him up for this instead of Marcus and I. He disappeared.
Okay, well, we're going to go ahead now. I'm going to talk to Patty Guthrie just a moment. Patty is our Pacific Union ASI president, and she has a burden to raise awareness and to see how we can work together to help those refugees in the Ukraine. Patty, why don't you share with us the burden the Lord has put on your heart?
Yes, so in ASI Pacific Union, one of our most active members is Ostap Dzindra with the Build and Restore Ministry. And my involvement in this started with calling Ostap up and finding out what was going on. He's Ukrainian. And so as I heard how he has been involved in calling his family and talking with them over in Ukraine and connecting people and resources to the people who are there on the ground, I was really inspired and wondered how our ministries can work together. So we've actually also talked with, of course, Steve Dickman here at OCI and the group that we have together today, as well as the Pacific Union. I've told our friends at Pacific Union, we went to work together with the church. So I know that God is organized. All the work of heaven is organized in heaven, and we want it to also be organized here on earth, and we're glad to have a part in it.
Thank you, Patty. Appreciate that. Friends, today, I just want to appeal to you. If you're watching this report, if you're thinking about what your involvement should be, I want to appeal to you. You've heard the pleas of the ministries that are working on the front lines. We need people that are willing to go and distribute literature. We need medical personnel who are willing to go and help relieve medical needs. We need connections in the world of getting supplies and things like this to these places. And there are financial needs of our ministries as they are serving these refugees on the front lines and providing food and providing housing and providing prayer and providing literature. What an opportunity for us to be the hands and feet of Jesus during a time of crisis in our world today. Outpost Centers International is an opportunity for us to pull this partnership together and to give you an opportunity to respond. On our website, and those website information will come up on your screen there, you'll see that, and you'll see where you can respond. You can go, you can make a donation to the Ukraine Crisis Relief Funds that we're raising to help advance ministry there along the front lines with the many thousands of refugees who are streaming out of the country of Ukraine. You also see their contact information for the ministries that have been on the call today and sharing some of their needs. And if you want to be boots on the ground, if you want to be one of those individuals who is distributing literature and praying with people and ministering out on the front lines medically or in some distribution channel or helping at one of the ministries, we're inviting you to contact them directly. And on our webpage there for the Ukrainian relief crisis, there will be contact information for these various ministries. so you can contact them if you want to go and do something there. I want to assure you today, friends, that nothing is by accident. God has not put you where he's put you without accident, and he hasn't put us where he put us without accident. It's a purpose. We have a reason. And today I'm appealing to you to see what God is wanting to do through you in helping to minister to those who are hurting right now, streaming out of Ukraine. The war is behind them. They need hope. They need a future. You can be a part of that by volunteering. You can be a part of that by giving. We're inviting you to join with us as we try to relieve the suffering humanity that is coming to us from the country of Ukraine. God bless you, and we thank you today for joining us for this special report.